All right. Well, if let's see, if YouTube is being honest with me, then we're live. So I'm a couple minutes early this morning, so I'll wait for other folks to pop in. It's 7:58, and this live stream is supposed to start at 8. But I always seem to be ready in advance. Actually, this morning I had to get some things lined up, so for these live stream videos lately, I have some pre-planned things to share with people. And right now, we're just looking at a video clip of the Point of Rocks area in the Granite Dells. So, as always, thanks for stopping by and hanging out for a few. My name is Rich Charpentier. I'm the channel host here. And I've been doing a good job of every Monday, we're getting a new live stream up. And today's is going to be interesting. I actually had to alter some of what I was going to be talking about today, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. What you're seeing in the background, this video here, this is some B-roll from last year, so that was terrible. It was me out doing some practice flights last year and testing out some litchi feed. Good morning, Jerry. Good to see you here this morning. So, all right, we've got our first person in the chat. And hey, Rob, how are you doing? Thanks for the thumbs up. So what you guys are seeing right now on screen before we get into today's topic, this was just me doing some testing last year. I've got a ton of B-roll. If you're flying drones, you probably have a ton of B-roll too. So this is just some stuff from last November where I was doing some tutorial work. And so in another video on YouTube, you'll see some of these scenes and me talking through some litchi stuff. And also, a lot of this footage ended up in one of the litchi classes as well. So this is just having a little fun, and the drone is actually executing a pre-programmed flight plan. And I just wanted to show you something not construction-y this week. So we've seen a lot of construction stuff as I launched that new construction class. And so we've seen a lot of the same buildings over and over again as we were working through the project. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice just to see a gorgeous location, which is kind of my backyard here. For quite a while, I lived in the Granite Dells. We're like a 10-minute drive from them now, so I do miss being able to walk out into the rocks and just be up on the cliffs and enjoy the views. So this is a little taste of Prescott for those of you who haven't spent any time here. So as you can see, Granite Mountain out there. So like I said, I've got a lot of B-roll clips, and yeah, at some point I need to clear them out and put some new ones in, and do away with the ones that aren't necessary. It's so hard to delete these things sometimes, though, isn't it? You're like, oh, I could use that at some point in time. So while we're flying around here, over the past week, I've had some interesting contacts. And I've done a couple of interesting jobs, and then one job that got canceled on Saturday because when you're in the northern desert, the winds can become really extreme. So we went out to a job location on Saturday, over 6,000 feet in elevation. And the winds at this particular job site, we met the property owner, and he said, I don't think you're flying today. And I said, I don't think I'm flying today either, especially at almost 1,000 feet above where I'm usually flying. So they had even more extreme winds. So there's one thing to keep in mind. Sometimes you're going to have to move your clients around. It's reality. If you're wanting to do a nice job for them and you don't want any shake in the video or blurry images, sometimes the weather's not cooperative. So you get to come back. So we're actually going to be going to their job site on this Wednesday. Looking at the forecast, hopefully we're going to have much lower wind speeds. So there's that one. So we had two big things that I wanted to talk about. I changed the title of this one the other day a couple of times due to seeing a couple of other drone videos over the past couple of days where a little argument between a couple of well-known drone YouTubers. And I had already selected my topic before I saw their argument, and I said, we're gonna change how we're titling these things a little bit. So we are going to talk a little bit about keeping my drone flights legal and something that cropped up last week that concerned me. Hey, how's it going, Corey? So soggy Florida, huh? Let me tell you, not soggy here right now. In Prescott this morning, it's actually cool. It's supposed to only be 69 degrees today. Remember, we're at high elevation. For those of you on the East Coast, I used to live in New Hampshire, and I'd go up to Mount Washington and do backpacking in the White Mountains. And the mountains up there are 5,000 to 6,000 feet above sea level. Where I live now, I'm 5,000 feet above sea level. So even though it's a desert state, we do have some cold weather sometimes, and snow over this past winter. So once again, the background here for those of you who just joined up, it's just some B-roll of me doing some testing last year. So the strange things. Let's go ahead and start up with the strange stuff from last week and my level of discomfort with some requests. So last week I got an email through the website, of course, and it was from a legal firm down in the Casa Grande area, and they were looking for a drone pilot to fly some properties for them that would be involved in litigation. So there is some kind of lawsuit going on for one of their clients. They're looking for a drone pilot to fly some properties so that they can show encroachment and other items. And so I got to thinking about that for a few minutes. And I said, how do you feel about that type of job? So, how do you feel about that type of job? So I'm asking you guys here as well this morning. We all want our drone flight jobs, and we want to be able to build the business. And of course, in any business, there are going to be uncomfortable situations. So when I read that one, number one, I don't have time to go down to Casa Grande. I did get back in touch with the firm. I've got another friend who is a Part 107 pilot down in the Phoenix area. And so I forwarded the info along to him after I checked with the law firm that it was okay with them that I share it with another pilot. Because, oftentimes privileged and confidential is tagged onto the bottom of something from a law firm. So before you share it with anyone, you want to make sure that you're okay to do that. So there's this slight feeling with me, and I would do the job if I was down there, but there's a slight feeling of, when do we get into that invasion of privacy moment? And, so many people are worried about invasion of privacy with drones. I had one friend say to me the other year, we were out camping with our Airstreams in the Borrego Desert, and he said, I'm really concerned about my privacy and an invasion of privacy via drones. And so I showed him, flying the drone around, I showed him, when you get a little ways away from people, how they show up on screen. Are they, am I noticing who they are? And there I am, by the way, with the drone not too far away from me, but I know the drone's there. It's loud. It sounds like a swarm of bees. It can't be, mistaken for anything else. And, when a drone's around you within a couple hundred feet, you can absolutely hear it. So while talking to my friend, I said, number one, you're not interesting enough to spy on. So he got a kick out of that one. And I said, but number two, if I was really looking to invade your privacy, I don't think I'd do it with a drone, because the drone is pretty noisy. So that it's around you, that it's not far away. Now, funny enough, a couple of days ago, Jody broke out my doubler. So here's my the Canon 70, and let's see, do we have this up on screen? Yeah, I guess we got it up on screen. So here we are with a 70 to 200 and a doubler, because Jody was into the whole spy thing a couple of days ago. Actually, she wasn't. We had a hawk that had just made a kill out in the field in front of the place. And so Jody was out there snapping away some photographs. But in previous videos, I've actually done a couple of videos comparing shooting with my Canon lens with the doubler, and then having the drone near me and shooting the same scene. And the difference is night and day. If you've got a long lens on a DSLR, you're going to get a lot more detail at a good distance away, and people aren't going to know that you're taking those photographs, right? Because the Canon's quiet. It's a digital SLR. It's not making that buzzing sound constantly. So, at that same location, I took some photos with the drone, with the Mavic 2 Pro and with the Mavic Pro. Shot the Airstream, shot Jody down near the Airstream. You couldn't make her out. She was just a little group of pixels. So from the same distance, excuse me. So, that privacy invasion thing and that concern that a lot of other people have who are not drone pilots. I do understand that. And one of the big things that I like to do is, I'm just popping up another video in the background, is to make sure people are aware of when I'm doing my flights. So with all of my recent clients, I've asked them, if you have an HOA, could you let the HOA know? I am aware that I'm legal to fly here. There's nothing per the FAA that says I can't fly in this area. But I like to be a good neighbor and alert people as to when we're doing a job. And as a matter of fact, one of my clients had said to me last November, he said, before we even started in with this project, he said, oh, and just to let you know, so we've got other property owners around here, and we've advised the property owners that you'll be out here regularly shooting stills and filming for us. And so if you alert people to the fact that you're doing your job, then there aren't all these concerns. As a matter of fact, this past weekend, when we went out on Saturday and it was too windy on Saturday, the property owner said, hey, I already let my HOA know. I let my neighbors know, and the neighbors are interested. And so there are some other neighbors in the area who'd like to see the drone flight as well and see the work that we're doing for that client. So I think, a lot of people say, it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. I get where they're coming from, but also since you're building this as your business and as a revenue stream, I think that we should take all the steps we can to advise people of the type of work we're doing and to make sure that we're not going to make anyone think, hey, somebody's looking in my window. And they're invading my privacy. Let's keep the reputation good for all of us who are doing this as a business. And, with the Clark Whalen project, if you're not familiar with this channel and you're new to the channel, number one, thanks for joining in today. The Clark Whalen project, that was one of our construction progression projects that's still ongoing. I wanted to make sure, since there were so many other private residences in the area, I was concerned about some of my flight paths. I wanted to make sure that I didn't disturb any of the neighboring property owners. I wanted to make sure that they were comfortable with the drone flights too. So we made sure that people were advised as well. And we didn't have any problems. The biggest thing that I saw out on those locations was people's interest. So I talked to a couple of the construction group people. I talked to the foreman on site. I talked to some of the neighbors who were actually interested in what was going on with the project. So on their walks, they would walk where I was. I'd bring the drone back in. I'd land it because I could always tell when people were looking for a conversation. So that was really cool and awesome. All right, so this one's still playing out. Now, so it brought up, the legal request, the law firm's request, brought up some questions in my mind again about privacy and, how property owners respond to drones. And in this particular case, there's litigation going on in that case. So there's probably somebody who wouldn't be too thrilled with a drone flight over their property to show off the disputed area. Now let's think about this for a minute. Land survey engineers, the people who do all of the high-end measurements and things, those folks are out there on a regular basis assisting property owners with disputes or with marking out their boundaries. And people don't get in an uproar about that. You don't hear a lot of, oh, my privacy is being invaded because there's a guy out there with a GPS unit doing some measurements. And yeah, they're not as conspicuous as, let's say, a drone flying around near your property. So we, as drone pilots, we're a little more noticeable than, let's say, a survey crew going out onto site. People are going to hear that drone on the non-windy days. If they look up, they might notice that drone and they might ask themselves, why is there a drone flying around near my property boundary? What's that drone doing? So that's when you're going to start questioning, for yourself, what is going too far and what is encroaching on someone else's privacy. Now, I had another job last week that also kind of left me with a little bit of that feeling. I had another client get in touch, another potential client get in touch who became a client, and they're a property owner. They have some parcels, and they have some parcels of land that they have partners in. And then they have some parcels of land around them that are not theirs, but they had a concern about an easement and a right-of-way area. And those types of things come up with properties regularly. So I was very happy and comfortable with the first flight for them. We had a 2D model. They wanted to get a look at some things where construction was going on in relation to their own parcels that they had. And when we were out there, we also parked on one of their parcels. Didn't park on any neighboring parcels of land, so other people who had their own land. But in the area that we were flying, yes, there were other private homes in those areas. So when I set up that flight, I blocked out only the requested area, only the property that they're involved with. We did a really great two-dimensional model. The 3 people who came out and met with us to see the process were pretty wowed. Actually, one of them shot video on their iPhone, and then they sent it along to me afterward because they thought it was pretty cool and pretty impressive. And you get that a lot with customers. So people are also curious about what we're doing. So if we keep ourselves on the right track and we're doing the right things, and we're making every effort to not encroach on others' property, impact their privacy. If we're shown to be doing all that, I think it's a good thing for the drone industry and for all of us, because, we're ambassadors for the drone industry and for the businesses we're building, aren't we? I mean, when people meet us, they're going to find out, hey, these are friendly people. They're willing to work with you. They're making sure not to bother you while they're doing their jobs. So that first flight was fine and comfortable, and we modeled for 2D. And for fun, I did a 3D model of the location as well, even though I didn't fly it for it, okay? So I was not intending on passing off a 3D model to the clients or anything. It was just my own curiosity as to how good the model looked with just a north-south pattern. So I wasn't shooting for the 3D, but what came out of the 3D actually pretty good. So let's see here. Let's find the right button. All right. So here is this this quasi 3D model, because like I said, this wasn't even shot for being a 3D model. But as I took a quick look at it on Sketchfab, I use Sketchfab to share with clients when we're doing some modeling, or to show off areas that I'm interested in showing off. But zooming into this, that didn't turn out too bad, did it? Not bad at all. The sides of these other residences, they're melty and not good, but the drone wasn't flying for that. But overall, with that north to south view, I was fairly impressed. I liked it. So I decided, hey, let's put the Sketchfab up and let's send it to the client. And they really liked it too. They liked it so much that they were wondering about a next step where I would come in and fly closer in on the property to do some 3D modeling to deal with a right-of-way and easement issue. What made me a little uncomfortable with this was that the area that I would have to fly, I would have to actually drop the elevation a good bit. I would have to do a couple of orbits as well, and in doing those orbits, I would be flying over another person's property, another person's parcel. The drone would need to be closer in to their residence, and so I got a little uncomfortable with that because of the fact that I would then be flying over somebody else's property who it sounded like was in a dispute with these other people. So big question of, are you going to get yourself pulled into a dispute? And also with that in mind, other questions popped into my head. When we as drone pilots go out and do some modeling for our clients of their properties or other properties, or we're doing things where maybe there's a legal dispute, like the contact from the lawyers that I got last week. Now I'm even a little more concerned, hey, if I'm flying into this other person's parcel and that person does not have good feelings toward the people I'm working for, number one, am I opening myself up for getting yelled at by somebody? or getting the drone shot down. You know, even though we're doing all the legal things, we're in Class G airspace, so we can fly up to 400 feet above ground level, and you know that's FAA's controlled area. So you know, with that in mind, you start asking yourself, you know, what do I feel comfortable with, and what don't I feel comfortable with? I hadn't had a follow-up conversation with that client. We played phone tag, but when we do sit down and chat again, I'm just going to ask if we could achieve the results that they want to achieve without. Remind me later. Let's see if I'm back. Okay, let's see. Am I back? So, all right, it looks like I'm back. If I could get a comment from somebody in the stream. We had a disconnect. Speaking of the winds here in Prescott, everything in the entire building just flickered. I do have a backup over here. But yeah, something really weird just happened. So we'll, yeah, let's go ahead and open that one up. And let's wait and see for a second. So, gotcha. Thought it was on my end. No, let's see. Can't open the file. Oh, because it was closed improperly. Yeah. So, hi everybody. Welcome back to the live stream. There's a break in the live stream right now. I disappeared for about 5 minutes. One computer stayed on, one computer went off, the network went off. Yeah, so the winds here in Prescott today, really not helping me. And now I've got to get everything else set up. So now we've got this weird blank screen going on. Okay, so thanks, Jerry. I'm glad to know I'm back, and I'm sorry about that. I need to move some plugs around for my next live stream so that we can stay live on the APS backup. So, boy, I'm feeling kind of silly. And Kino seems to be hanging now because literally everything crashed. You know, I lost power. Let's go ahead and force quit that. So I was just trying to get everything up. So let me finish up on those thoughts. So, you know, there was a level of discomfort with the second job request. Not because I can't do the job request, but because I could potentially be flying over private property owned by someone who's in a dispute with their neighboring property owner. So with that in mind, you know, the big questions come about. You know, I started having all these thoughts. You know, okay, you know, survey engineers go out and they check out locations, and you know, they say if someone has encroached on something. If we as drone pilots are going out imaging things for people, you know, are we going to be testifying for somebody? I mean, is that where it could lead to? You know, we're expert witnesses for you know, we took photos of this, and yeah, we could see that somebody built a big yellow barn on somebody else's property. So it leaves some interesting questions for you that you should probably think about in your drone business. Oh, hey, Jerry Kino. Gosh, I can't remember. Maybe I want to say 179. My brain is like saying 79 or 179. Yeah, I've been using it for well over a year now. I love it for managing managing my images. My video is the primary use for that. But let's see if we can boot that one up again. So, you know, that whole privacy thing. So I'm trying to do the right things for my clients and for the people around them. And I hope you are too. I don't want to brazenly fly into somebody's property and, you know, who's in litigation or something with someone without, you know, knowing that there's some notifications going on there. And I think the reason why Kino is not coming up too is because one of my drives took a moment to come back up. So that was really weird. So there we go. There's Kino back up. Yeah, talk about a strange thing with that popping out. I know it's super, super windy out there right now, but I just didn't expect that. So, all right, there's some things to think about. you could be called upon to image some properties that are having a dispute. And you have to ask yourself, what is comfortable for me and what's not comfortable for me. One of the things that I always say, I've had realtors get in touch when they want me to do raw land sites for them, and then they say to me, "Hey, would you put those those lines around the property boundaries?" My answer is no. I won't do that. I'll shoot the property for you, but survey engineers are the people who mark those things out. And so I'll leave that to the survey engineering folks because I'm not a survey engineer. So I don't want to put incorrect property lines out there on a photo that I've shot for a realtor because, you could get in trouble with that. So, representing a high degree of accuracy or anything, if you're a licensed survey engineer, absolutely. If we're just drone pilots flying properties, give people visualizations of their property, that's one thing, but I'm not saying to people we're accurate down to this or that. And I'm certainly not going to draw property boundaries on a property. You can go look at the tax maps if you want to see those exact property boundaries, but we as drone pilots can present the images in a unique way for people, and they'll have a very good feel for what the parcel is. But like I said, I'm just not drawing those out for people. All right, the second part here today. Oh, and Jerry, we can look up Kino after is one of my thoughts. But let's go ahead and pull that up. We're having trouble finding a site. Good grief. It really hit me hard with that one. So the second part of the live stream today that I want to talk about, I've had a lot of people ask me about doing different drone testing. So there are a ton of channels out there, a ton of channels that I really love and I enjoy the channel hosts who get into the nitty gritty of the drones. They go through all the specs, they talk about the camera, they do flight testing, they do distance testing, they do connectivity testing, they do all of this stuff, and I stay away from that stuff. So I'm very happy to do reviews about the apps that we use for our businesses. I'm very interested in that stuff. But I'm not so interested in how fast can the drone fly, how far can the drone fly. And I personally avoid doing those types of tests, even for myself, off camera. I keep everything within line of sight and within line of sight from my visual observer. My clients are interested in the progression of their job sites or images of their properties or images of their homes from the air or video of that. All of those things that they are interested do not lead me to need to find out, can I fly my drone miles and miles away from me? I have no interest in doing that. And for the types of jobs that I'm doing, I want to be on those properties. I don't want to fly an extreme distance away. And I don't want to do my progression reports from a mile away from the drone. Why would I be doing that? That means that I'm not on the location. That means that I have not scouted the location to see if there are any new obstructions or hazards. So none of that kind of testing falls into my needs for my drone business. So when I get the private emails from people, "Hey, could you do a distance test with the Mavic 2 Pro?" And I have had people ask me that. No, I'm not doing a distance test with the Mavic 2 Pro. I'm very close to an airport, and even in those videos of the granite dells, I have to put in the Lance request. We've done the paper waivers or authorizations previously before Lance was out. So, I'm definitely not doing distance testing around a public airport, especially an airport that has the kind of traffic that KPRC does, because we have multiple flight schools here. You might have heard of Embry-Riddle. Yeah, they've got a lot of students up in the air, and all these other flight schools have got a lot of students up in the air. So no extreme drone distance testing. Now, the reason why I changed some of the labeling on my video on this live stream the other day is because apparently there's an argument between a couple of well-known drone channels, and they're getting into a head-butting argument about distance tests and things. And go figure, I had already picked this topic, and then I see this stuff between a couple of folks, and I said, I need to ratchet back from that because I don't want to get involved in that argument or conversation. How I fly and what I test is that's that's what I want to do. What you want to do, if you want to do those types of tests, you're welcome to do what you need to do for yourself. If you're violating parts of Part 107 and you're trying to build a growing drone business where people want to come to you, I think getting in trouble with the FAA for violating anything in Part 107 isn't going to go a long way to helping you build your business. So the types of testing that I'm happy to do for myself and on channel has to do with the applications we're using, has to do with flying job sites, all types of job sites. And that's the kind of testing that I'm going to do. Extreme distance, no interest in it. It doesn't add value for my business. So there's my 2 cents on it. And please don't link to the other guys who are having the argument. If you follow other drone YouTubers, you know what's going on, and you've probably seen the argument. And I don't want to be pulled into that. I just wanted to answer the question that I've gotten, and didn't want to get on that hype train. But yeah, as far as the drone testing goes, visual line of sight, and when I've got a visual observer, we can work the properties that we've been doing. Even doing some of the larger areas, like for my folks out in the Skull Valley area, we've got a 40-acre property there, and we didn't do the whole 40 acres. We were just condensing it down to where the major changes in the property were taking place. Actually, under the aerial imaging, you can see, I'm just moving my mouse around here, and I'll explain this web browser in just a minute as well. We're doing some new placeholder pages for our website. But so you can see, this is part of that property where that's a 40-acre property. And when we do the modeling for them, I did not do the full 40 acres. I actually pulled it in a little bit because we just wanted to feature and highlight the major changed areas. So we didn't need to do all that other big stuff. And the client totally agreed with us on that because he said, oh yeah, those areas are just remaining the same. So never does the drone get out of my visual line of sight on this property. Even when I'm doing the big grid pattern with Ground Station Pro, I can always see the drone, and I'm flying it at 200 feet above ground, and I can always keep an eye on it. So I feel very comfortable with that property. And, like I said previously, I'm not doing these extreme distances. I'm going to those job sites. I could never see a reason where I would be lifting off hundreds of feet or even over 1,000 feet away from my job site unless it was a massive, massive job site. And in that case, we're going to be talking about more visual observers and things, right? So there's why I don't do the more extreme drone testing. If you want to see other applications tested, if you want to see, hey, how does that application work on the Mavic 2 Pro versus the Mavic Pro, I'm happy to do that kind of stuff as well. But just flying in a straight line far, far away from myself to where I can't see the drone doesn't add any value to my business whatsoever. So why would I do it? I'd rather be on the FAA's good side, right? So there you go. All right, now finally, let's do a wrap up from over the weekend. And once again, everybody, I'm so sorry about that dropout there. Yeah, there's arguing. Video was taken down. I didn't even know the video was taken down, Corey. I don't understand people in violation blatantly posting. Yeah, it does make us look bad. This is why I was doing this video today, this live stream, because, number one, I don't want to invade anybody's privacy. I want to do correct jobs for my clients. So I thought these two things went together, and it was just crazy when I saw this argument take place, because I was like, well, I already made the name for my live stream for next week. Now I got to change it because I don't want to get involved with that fight. Quite honestly, a lot of the other drone channels, I really enjoy watching those people. I get a lot of information from them, and I'm super appreciative of them because they've helped me in my journey as well. The whole butting heads thing between different channels, I don't understand. It bumps me out. I'm with you. Enjoy your stuff. post for my needs. Thanks, Corey. I'm glad. Yeah, so we're going to keep it to that kind of stuff. And we will be doing more testing and tutorials. And by the way, before I forget, because I was going to talk about what's up on screen, there are going to be some more tutorials forthcoming over the next couple of weeks. After today, I'm in tutorial mode starting tomorrow. One of my clients that I work for, that I do tutorials for, has given me 3 new tutorials that they need done. So folks over on my Patreon channel, you will be seeing some of these. Folks on the YouTube channel, you might see smaller snippets of these. But while I'm doing some of this work, some of this tutorial work, I'm going to be doing a behind the scenes kind of thing for the Patreon channel. So if you're a patron, you're going to be seeing that popping up probably by the end of the week once I finish the first major tutorial. And maybe some clips will go up here on YouTube as well. If you want to see the stuff early though, and you're not on my Patreon, head on over to the Patreon. It's down in the lower right-hand corner. Oh, nope, it's disappeared because everything went wonky. If you go over to Patreon, it's Rich Charpentier. Just look up the Rich Charpentier channel, and there I am. But yeah, so more tutorials this week. We're going to be seeing a lot more stuff coming up. And I've gotten some requests on tutorials from folks, so I will be looking into your suggestions as well. All right, the final thing today, this is a bad web page. This is not done. This is just us making a placeholder. But so we're not going with these images. We have other images that we want to go with after. These are just images that are already uploaded on my WordPress installation. So we're blocking some things out and we're playing around with some galleries because we are going to start doing more real estate work as well. Since everything that has happened in the past couple of months, Jody getting laid off for months on end, I said, okay, let's start talking to realtors about doing interiors, exteriors, and some aerial work. So you might see some more of that on this channel in the very near future. So we got to get Jody busy again so that she's not bored and she's back to shooting because she's been professionally shooting for years as well. So we've got this test page where we're laying some things out. I'm going to be playing with some other gallery plugins today. I've used Next Gen Gallery previously for clients. We've also got Slider Revolution. So I'm looking at making more interesting displays that don't feel cumbersome to realtors that we're approaching. So these pages are going to be for realtors and to just give them an idea of the kind of work that we do, both aerial and terrestrial. So let's go look down here. All right, not missing any other ones. Great. And God, I just feel so stupid that that power outage hit us. So I will be probably running by Best Buy this week and getting a second battery backup so that everybody's covered and we don't have that happen on a live stream again. I can't believe the live stream started back up too. That's awesome. Let's hope that it keeps the whole stream. I wonder if it's going to give a blank area. All right, so also just to give you an idea, I am logged in. So, I'm logged into my website. We're going to be working on that later today. I just wanted to say in total, so we've got some hidden pages. We've got some password protected pages. We've got some private pages. But in total on our current website, we've got 44 published pages. So that means there's a lot of information on those pages. And like I've been saying to folks on live streams and on channel, it takes a while to build your website. And one of the big things is having information in your website. The more verbiage we put into the website, the more and more people find us, which is absolutely awesome. That's what we want them to do, right? We want them to find us and use our services. Let's close this down, go back to client media, and let's go back to the B-roll that we were in before. Let's just pick something else as a fun background as we're about to wrap this up. So let's see. I just always like having the videos too. So let me just look over. Oh, 360 VR interiors. Yeah, that is awesome as well, Corey. So we've also got a 360 cam, and we're talking about a couple of different ideas. And I was actually having an idea about Prescott as well. So I've just got that running again. So to wrap everything up, we talked about me getting a little uncomfortable with the job, doing the first part of the job because that was okie dokie and we weren't, crossing into anything. But if I were to do that 3D modeling for the client, then I would be encroaching on someone else's property and someone else's property that they might be having an argument with. So you really have to think about what you're willing to work with and what your comfort levels are. Okay. So that's why I put that one up. And then on the second part, like I said, I get requests for tests, and I appreciate the fact that you folks are coming by here and that you like how I explain things. I really do appreciate that. It's cool. Um, so I'm never going to do any super extreme stuff, no major distance stuff. But if you have applications you want to see, applications that could be of value to other drone operators, I'm happy to take a look at those things. And I will be looking at some other software this week as well. And then finally, I just want to say thank you for following along. Um, this has been fun building this channel. It's not growing leaps and bounds, and that's okay. I'm seeing 100 to 150 new people a month, people who are interested in our topics and people who are interested in the classes that I've been putting together. And that's another thing. If you're new to this channel, down in the show notes below, I do have links to my classes at Udemy, and I have the new coupons up for June. So I have to update the coupons every month. That's one of the things that Udemy is doing now. So every month you got to make a new link to give everyone the discount. But so there are discounts down below. I've got to say the Litchi class has gotten really great response and reviews. The new drone construction class, our progression class, has gotten a lot of signups already and a lot of great reviews, so I'm really happy with that. Of course, the Metashape, the introduction to Metashape for doing modeling has gotten a lot of students. So I want to thank everybody on channel for helping to support the channel in any way you can. It's super appreciated. And we can go ahead and grow this channel slow. And maybe we'll hit one of those topics that really gets everyone excited. And, I'm not going to go searching for controversial topics. That's just not the way I'm wired. I want to share with you, how I'm growing my business and hopefully how you can grow your businesses as well. So we're at 8:42 a.m. now. I'm going to wrap this one up because now I've got to figure out, is it going to do playback for me after, since we had, I'd say it was what, a 5 or 6 minute interruption with that whole network dropout and everything. I can't believe that the stream started back up again. So that's kind of cool. So I guess a thumbs up to YouTube for that one. All right, everyone, we'll be having conversations again next week. And when we go out and fly this property on Wednesday, that will be part of next week, because I think it's going to be really interesting to you as a drone pilot, another opportunity. So this isn't a construction progression. This isn't checking out a raw land site. This is actually doing some work for a property owner who apparently is having some issues with a contractor who did a job for him. Showing up on the site, I could see the problem immediately. I was like, I don't even need a drone to see this problem. But we're actually going to be flying their property. We're going to be doing still images to show some damaged areas. That way the client can go back and say, the work that was done on my building was not, up to par. And I'm not a construction worker. I've never worked on that side of the fence. But I could see it immediately. So we're going to be imaging this for our client. And that way the client can use the images to go back to the company and say, we're going to need to revisit this and have some repairs done. So we'll see that next week. And yeah, it should be fun. It's a really awesome location. And I'm going to do some extra flying while I'm there, not at the client's request, but just because it's such a cool location. I think you'll get a kick out of it, and it'll probably end up in my B-roll. All right, everyone, have a great start to the week. We'll see you again next week. You'll probably see a new video, at least one new video here on YouTube this week, talking about some of the new tutorials that are going to be going on. And for patrons over on Patreon, stay tuned over there. Make sure you got your notifications turned on, because you should be seeing a couple of full-length videos probably before Saturday. All right, everyone, have an awesome... Oh, let me look over here. Started doing some work. Very high-level person. Son will share when the video is done. All right, I'd love to see it. And actually, as we're talking about these things, if you guys have something really cool to share, go ahead and drop me a note. Go over to azdrone.net, use the contact form. I answer everyone. I'll email you back afterwards, so then you'll have my regular address. But I'd love to be able to share stuff, share other people's stuff as well with the kind of work that they're doing. We can all help each other out. All right, Jerry, glad you enjoyed the chat. We'll see you guys again really soon. Like I said, have an awesome start to the week. All right.